Resource scarcity and availability in the 21st century, and particularly in the context of a rapidly evolving economy in which some of the fundamental resources such as land, soil, sand are becoming as important in terms of understanding their use and also their availability in the future as it is to talk about some of the rarest metals that we can find on our planet today. The rapidly evolving technology frontier that the University of Oxford is so much part of, and the kinds of materials that we will use to underpin that transition in terms of technology, be it material or platforms that we use for communication, mobility, energy generation, clearly demand of us to comprehend an economy in the 21st century that probably with every decade that passes will change more rapidly than we have ever seen in the past. Just the emergence of renewable energy technologies in our energy economy globally over the last 15 to 20 years is nothing short of an energy revolution. The next frontier may be the revolution in mobility and the kinds of technologies that we will rely on in making people and goods travel across the planet. Our ability to locate all of this in a both societal and economic context of transition to respond to the challenge of climate change is going to be one of the conversations that you will engage in. Scientific research, but not only in terms of technology and science in its purest sense, but also linking it to social science, to adoption, to the kinds of markets that will allow us to make these transitions not only possible, but win-wins from a climate perspective, but also from an economic and employment perspective, are going to be critical. There are few places on this planet that are more suited to hosting such a conference than the Oxford Martin School in the beautiful University of Oxford that I continue to miss as I sit here in New York. But let me also tell you that much of what I do now every day draws precisely on the kind of research and insight that comes from organizing conferences that not only focus on the academic and scientific frontier of research, but actually also on that frontier of application and understanding markets and economies that the Veolia Institute brings to this conference. In that sense, I think you have two perfect hosts, and certainly on my side of the Atlantic, a very ready and keen client for what it is that you will conclude from this conference and the directions that you will point out. But those of us who work with governments all across the world now, as we do in UNDP, on the challenge of climate change, but more importantly, on how climate action can be development action. If we can combine the frontiers of science and knowledge with models that work in our economy, then the 800 plus projects that UNDP currently helps countries to implement under the heading of climate change and the response to it could actually become an amazing partnership.